99 episodes. We are the wild thing today.
We are the wild thing.
Yeah.
And especially because I'm as erratic as Ricky Vaughn.
And Major League One.
This guy hits a ton. How come no one else picked up on him?
Right.
All right, Eddie. Enough fastballs. Throw some breaking pitches.
Right.
My favorite movie, by the way. And it only took 99 episodes for us to have me mention it.
Right.
So, anyway, this is episode 99 of the F and Marks podcast. I'm your co-host, Bobby the Brainless.
I'm Ja Rule. Lots of stuff to get to this week. I mean, there were a lot of news-filled items that happened, particularly at Hell in the Cell. And Hell in the Cell, it was a really damn good show. A couple of surprises, and just... I dug it.
I dug it too. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, other noteworthy things have actually happened this week, which is pretty cool. We had a couple of anniversaries that actually happened this week as well. Actually, yesterday was a very, very important day for a WWE Hall of Famer in the history of wrestling.
Right.
That was a mouthful. I mean, there's other noteworthy things this week, like the Jets lost to the Browns. I mean, it's like what Al Bundy used to say back in the day about the Rams. If you lose to the Browns, you get thrown out of the league. Fireman Ed jumped off the George Washington Bridge.
Right.
God damn, it's always a good day when the Jets fucking lose. I mean, also, we might witness history tonight.
You never know.
We could eventually witness history. I mean, there was
history last night.
What was historic last night?
Old Dominion defeated Virginia Tech.
Oh, that's right. And that was the first time I believe Old Dominion actually defeated a ranked opponent.
Yeah, and being 0-3 and kind of bumming their first few games. I mean, we went to one of their games, and they actually played well the first half, but then had a 2.5-hour lightning/rain delay, and that kind of fucked them that game. But and that was a brilliant evening for us.
And that was Butch Davis who was coaching at FIU.
Right.
He's still coaching at FIU. But you would think that when a team loses to a team called Liberty, that's not a good sign.
Right.
Sorry, I just had to put that out there.
So, anyway, yeah, Old Dominion. Big victory.
All right. We also could witness history tonight as the Boston Red Sox go for their franchise record 106th victory tonight against Jeff Snyder's favorite baseball team, the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, and he predicted today that the Red Sox will win because they've got a bum. Cleveland has a bum pitching tonight.
Which I think is bullshit because Cleveland did something last night that no team in the history of baseball ever did. They had 4 guys in their rotation strike out 200 batters in a season. 4 different pitchers that struck out 200 batters in a season. That's never happened. And
I don't think Jeff has ever said that the starting staff is bum, but he said tonight's starting pitcher is bum.
Well, for Jeff though, it's 25 bums. It's Tito and his 25 bums. So I mean that's why I kind of got confused because he says everybody's bum.
No, he doesn't. No.
Yeah, you're right.
No.
Okay. Well,
they've got a couple of guys on the roster that hit the shit out of the ball.
Francisco Lindor is a fucking animal. I love that kid.
So,
but anyway, we're not a baseball podcast
or a football podcast. We're a professional wrestling podcast. So we should get into professional wrestling, shouldn't we?
You're absolutely 100% correct.
So
how do we always start off this thing?
We talk professional wrestling while drinking Colt 45. And this will be the power of Colt 45. It's going to make our 99th podcast tremendous. Damn straight.
I might die in episode 99.
Works every time. The dynamite taste of Colt 45.
Because if the 40 don't get you,
the 5 will.
And also,
Booty-Ums. They make sure you ain't booty.
Yeah.
I'm just wicked excited because, as everybody knows, that because this is the 99th episode, that there's in the words of the infamous Scott Steiner, there's 141 2/3 chance that next week will be the big 100 episode of the podcast. And, I like those odds. You got to love those odds when it's that.
Right.
And that's those odds. And, I got some additions coming in. I'm really excited because, I got the notification today that they're on their way.
Right.
We're stoked, man.
Well, beyond that, we're going to have at least one special guest, maybe 2, which may mean that, holding off on showing off the new showcase of what we have maybe episode 101 and not episode 100. We
That's very true.
So this room is not quite big enough to fit 4 folks. It's barely big enough to fit 3.
But we can fit 3. We've done it numerous times.
We have. So,
but either way, I'm still excited about the fact that everything that's coming in is coming in. I'm like, and I blame Corey O'Neill for all of this. The Ben Salem Express, as he's known on Twitter. So if you want to go on there and give him shit on the Twitters, that's fine. Just talk about the fact that the Eagles barely beat the Colts, and sorry, Melanie, if you're watching. Just give him a hard time, because if it wasn't for his setup, this whole thing wouldn't be happening. But I am super fucking stoked for this shit, man. I just and I am, and I'll admit it right now, I am the king of procrastination. Believe me when I tell you.
It drives me fucking nuts.
And if anybody can vouch for that, it's this gentleman right here. But you know what? Considering what my circumstances are right now, I think I basically fell in shit, and I'm not going to come out covered in it. So I'm excited about the fact that my procrastination actually benefited me for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, there was little.
That's all right. I got a surprise for everybody in the podcast today that you don't know about, but I know about.
Sweet.
But it's on the whiteboard, so I'm gonna. Speaking of which, the most over thing on the podcast.
Wrong.
Excuse you? How do you figure that the whiteboard of 1 and 2?
Nobody asks for it. You're the only one who likes it.
This thing would be more over if Michael Scott was very much into the whiteboard of 1 and 2. And I have a sneaking suspicion that if Michael Scott found out about the whiteboard of 1 or 2, he would say it was the most over thing on this podcast.
Sure.
And
That's what she said. Oh, wait. That's what he said.
Right. But anyway, on the whiteboard of 1 or 2, this week, we have, as always, the good, the bad, and the brainless. As Ja Rule and myself will be giving our takes on what we thought was good, which I have a very, very good. The bad, which I have a very, very bad. And a brainless. And I know a thing or two about brainless.
Right.
So we got all that covered right there.
Booyah.
We're also going to talk about the results from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view from last Sunday. Like you said, it was a pretty awesome show. A lot of surprises, a lot of things that they did right was right. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Am I right? Right. Ned Ryerson!
Beetle knows that in the head.
Alright, that movie, by the way. And I gotta say, they definitely made up for last year's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Yeah, that was trash last year.
That was not that great.
I mean, literally, it was the most, sanitized version of a Hell in the Cell match. That first fucking Hell in the Cell match, holy fuck.
I will say this, the best match on the card was on the pre-show, and that was when the New Day and the Usos...
Rusev Day.
I was talking about last year's, when the New Day and the New Day and the Usos lit off on the pre-show at Hell in a Cell. They had a fucking awesome match. Other than that, I mean, it was kind of...
Right.
Because it just drooled all over it. I mean, the only good thing that actually came about from the main card was the fact that we got the Sami Zayn heel turn from last year, so... Anyway, we have some huge news in WWE this week. Some of it has to do with a lot of the international shows that they have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to actually shit on something that I saw online, but I'm not going to get into that until a little bit later.
Sure.
Also, kind of adding on to the huge news in WWE, they have a huge signing in WWE that happened this week. Not really a signing, it's more of like a re-signing of somebody.
Right.
And that was a very, 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 very good thing for WWE.
Booyah.
As we will be seeing the return of a future WWE Hall of Famer. And lastly on this list, Bobby goes brainless.
How can you go brainless? You're always brainless. Right?
It's kind of like how I wanted to say that there was something that I saw that I really just scratched my, makes me scratch my head and everything.
Sure.
But most importantly on that list, it says the Giants won today. The Giants won. The Giants no longer the worst team in the National Football League. It didn't take them until week 95 for them to get their first win of the season like it did last year. Eli Manning had a solid game. Barkley looked good. And most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, Eric Flowers sat on the bench and the offensive line played so much better. So with that being said, the brainless one is going to commemorate the Giants' first victory of the season by drinking a beer.
Well,
And not only am I going to drink this beer, I'm going to chug this motherfucker.
sweet.
So, that was my big surprise. I'm going to chug a beer.
Okay. Do
I
it.
said I'm going to chug a beer.
What?
I said I'm going to chug a beer.
What?
I'm going to chug my beer. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to finish my 40.
Yeah. Australia is in a couple of weeks. They're saying that it's going to be live on the network on the October 6th, although there's rumors that it's happening on the 5th in the United States. But it says a live WWE network exclusive for every promo here on the 6th, which is Saturday.
Well, they said that if you want to watch the Australian show on when it's happening, you have to watch it at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. 5 o'clock Eastern time Saturday, 4 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock in the morning, Western time.
Yeah.
Not like people in California sleep anyway.
Right.
And,
So that's a couple of weeks.
And people in Seattle don't sleep because they have Starbucks.
Right. But don't they sleep because it rains?
They'll sleep till Brooklyn. That's what the Beastie Boys once said.
Right.
But anyway, I'm gonna chug this beer.
Well, yeah, there goes the brainless one. Yeah.
I'm tired of people telling me what I can't do. They say I can't drink on a plane. They say I can't bang on a plane. I say I can't be a pilot. I can't be a doctor.
Yeah,
He's the GOAT too.
he is a go.
Appreciate that. I got this Saquon Barkley jersey to commemorate the fact that the Giants actually did something right in the draft for the first time in my entire life. No, second time. Obviously, trading Philip Rivers for Eli Manning was the greatest thing that's ever happened in my. Well, yes, because in 1981 was when they selected the greatest player to ever play in the history of the National Football League. And
What about when they selected maybe Michael Strahan or maybe JPP? Those weren't good. Bradshaw, guys like
Bradshaw. I mean that kind of
you won Super Bowls with those guys.
Yes, we won a Super Bowl with the JPPs. We won a Super Bowl with the GOAT Michael Strahan. Not that I'm going to discount that because if it wasn't for Strahan talking...
You said that you were 0 for your life in drafts. Those guys were Giants their whole careers until JPP just got traded.
Yes, JPP
He had 8.5 fingers.
And come on, I completely forgot about Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, I'm just going to discount the guy we just gave $90 million guaranteed to.
Yep.
Because that's what brainless people do. They do brainless things.
Even Tiki Barber was a good.
Oh, fuck Tiki Barber.
He's an asshole, but he was a good player for you.
He makes fucking Bugsby look like Mother Teresa.
Oh, I hate Tiki Barber, but I'm not going to say he was a bad player. Just like I hate the murderer, but I'm not going to say he was a bad football player.
Ray Lewis murdered 2 people and got away with it.
Yes, he was a good football player.
He was a tremendous football player.
Chris Benoit was a good wrestler, but he killed people.
And himself.
Yeah. He should have just killed himself.
Would have made life that much easier. I mean, the wife is one thing, but taking the kid, that one really just... I don't know, I kind of just...
Both are fucked up.
I mean, both are fucked up.
Both are fucked
I
up.
think
Taking his kids...
a little...
Motherfucker.
Just a slight...
I can't watch his matches anymore, and he was one of my favorites. And
I used to
it
put his
sucks.
finishing move on more people than anybody else.
Yeah.
I hope.
I hope the Cowboys lose today too.
I hope that the Yankees' plane crashes in Tampa Bay on the way to their game tomorrow.
That's very dark.
Yes, but fuck the Yankees. I can't say it about the Cowboys because they've already landed in Seattle and they're playing. So, although I do kind of want Ezekiel Elliott to fucking to go off today because I got him in DraftKings.
Where's your proof?
Gotta play to win.
Right.
Anyway, so let's get to the board. I did bring up, before we get to the board, I'm sorry to hear that. I am by no means a Yankees fan.
No, we're Sox fans, and we don't hold you being a Yankee fan against you. We hope you don't hold us being Sox fans against you.
I know that you're probably kind of confused as to why a guy decked out in New York Giants gear is also a Red Sox fan. Well, that's what happens when you're from the state of Connecticut, because you can either have all of your allegiance to all of the Boston teams, you can have your allegiance to all the New York teams, or you could be like a...
Exactly. Best team win.
Unless it's the Dallas Cowboys, I hope they lose all their games. and the Jets because they lost to the Browns. Or you can have all your allegiance can be all over the map, kind of like me. Whereas, I root for Boston in baseball, I root for New York in football, and then I'm on other parts
Detroit.
I'm in Detroit for hockey, and I really don't give a shit about basketball.
You love Florida.
Fuck Florida.
You love Florida.
The Orlando Magic suck. Being an Orlando Magic fan is like watching the movie Titanic.
Is it like watching the Cleveland Browns?
Well, the Browns actually win. At least the Browns fans have hope.
You have hope at the beginning of every Magic season. They started off good, like last year.
Yes, but unfortunately, usually by like the 15th game of the season, I'm just waiting for them to hit the iceberg.
Right.
And then just... That's usually when like Evan Fournier goes like 3 for 29 and Aaron Gordon goes on the injured reserve.
All right.
And all that stuff. So it's not fun being a Magic fan.
Right.
Trust me when I tell you.
So, what do you want to talk about?
All right, let's talk about. Let's find out why I want to go brainless. I want to go brainless because earlier this week, I don't know if you saw this or not. Earlier this week, there was a post that somebody posted that their dad was actually at a store and they happened to have bumped into Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. And the guy went out and told his daughter about what had happened. He said that he had went to this store and saw that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins were both there.
Yeah.
And he said that they were both dickheads to him because he wanted to get his picture taken with them, and they were just kind of like, no, we're not going to do it. People have been kind of on the fence on how they want to treat it. Yes, obviously in a situation like this, it looks really, it looks bad for them because, they're out and about, and, you always got to be in character. Kind of like back when we were talking about the Nexus the other day, and how when they were all in the Nexus, Vince McMahon told all the guys in the Nexus, like, yo, if you go to the airport, if you go out in public and you see fans and they want your autograph or your picture taken with them, what's up, Tommy? Just ignore them, just keep walking. Always got to stay in character. Obviously, with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins being two of the biggest stars that WWE has, it's kind of expected of them to, always be on and everything. I have a little bit of a problem with this whole situation. Two things about it that really piss me off. Number one, I kind of look at it and put myself in their shoes. Let's say you and I are out. Let's say you and I are big time wrestlers in the WWE, and we stop at like Wawa, and we just want to get like grinders and some monsters and
not be bothered
and everything. And people just come up to you, and people just come up to you and like, oh my god, I want your autograph. Oh, I want my picture taken with you. And it's like, can I just come in here and get a fucking sandwich, a bag of chips, and a goddamn energy drink without you little fuckers just coming up to me? Obviously, I think the kids would be different. Adults, yes. It's like, dude, I don't want to be fucking bothered. I just want to come in here, grab something to eat, something to drink, and get the fuck out of here and not be bothered by you people having me sign autographs and get my pictures taken with them. I understand that. Because the same thing happened with Sasha Banks when she was staying at hotels and like fans would come up to her at the hotel and be like, oh my god, what room are you staying in? Can I get my picture taken with you? Can we go hang out at the pool? Yada, yada, yada. And people got really upset because she was kind of a bitch to them and everybody's like, oh, she's a bitch. So I kind of see it from being on that end of it about like, I would hate to be bothered everywhere I go. Yes, if you see me at the airport and I'm just, I have some time in between, between flights and everything, yes, I'm going to go out of my way and I'm going to sign autographs and get my picture taken with kids. Because that's the most important thing, because you're trying to aim towards that demographic.
Well, you're trying to build the future fan base there.
And I always look at it from like the other end of it, being a fan of not just professional wrestling, but other aspects
of
life.
Any public figure. Think about it.
Like, obviously when I went to the show that was predominantly based on Rob Van Dam, and it's like you could do the meet and greet with Rob Van Dam, you get his autograph, your picture taken with him, you can talk to Rob Van Dam. Yes, obviously that's one thing. But like when former ESPN personality Stuart Scott, God rest his soul, I saw him probably a few years before he passed away. I was doing my pickup route and I saw him on my route, and him and I were just crossing paths, and I just looked at him and I just kind of did one of these, and he looked at me gave me one of those back, and it's like, yeah, it's like, I know who you are, but I know that this is your time. You don't want to be harassed, so this is just my way of saying, I know who you are, and I respect you, and I'm a fan of yours, and I think he appreciated that, especially because he knew that I knew who he was and everything. Like when I met Dan Patrick, I didn't want to go like, oh my God, you're Dan Patrick, oh my God, just like went like a total geek wad, even though I was like 18 when it happened or 17 when it happened. But I understand it from that aspect of it too. And another thing that really bothered me about it was the fact that there was somebody who was actually in the same store as the father that went out and said and told his daughter that they were dickheads and everything. The guy basically walked up to them and basically pulled out his phone and was trying to take his picture with them. He didn't even ask them. He's like, let's get a picture together. See, that's just kind of fucking...
That's rude.
That's fucking rude, man. Now, I can understand why they acted the way they did. It's because the guy just fucking did that.
He felt... It sounds like he felt entitled to a picture. And like... That's just the wrong thing. If you go, hey man, you guys got a minute? Can you take a picture? Excuse me, take a picture with me. And if they say no, yeah, maybe they're kind of being dicks. But if you ask nicely and politely instead of like, hey, let's have a picture.
Right.
And
also about that was he said what he said, and the person who was also in the store with them who basically outed the dude for being a fucking douchebag for them acting like, and then them acting like dickheads, is that, I don't remember if it was Sept or Roman, but one of them said, let me come in here, let me buy what I have to do, and once I get out of the store, I'll sign autographs and take pictures.
Completely cool.
So that just kind of irked me. That really upset me, and I really just, I wanted to bring it up just because I understand the human aspect of it. And it also goes to, like, wrestling fans really do take it far. They took it really far. I think that wrestling fans are the second most passionate fans in the world, next to soccer fans. I think that soccer fans are just...
I agree. People are too sensitive with some of that crap. It really is.
The fact that there's still people that are whining and crying over what happened in the election 2 years ago is just how we prove that everybody's sensitive. You can't say anything anymore. It's like, they talk about the First Amendment rights where you can freedom of speech and everything like that, and people are just like...
But when you say something that slightly offends somebody, oh my God, I can't believe they said that. Oh my God.
I'm going to go to my panic room. I'm going to go to my crying room. I'm going to go in my bedroom and hide under the bed and cry in the fetal position because they hurt my feelings. Please. This fucking world is way too sensitive, and that's the problem with this
Why do you think Donald Trump won? Because there were enough people that were fed up with people being overly sensitive. Like, this guy's kind of an asshole, but at least he just kind of comes out and says what he thinks.
That's why I voted for him. Part of it.
So,
but I mean, that's just the problem is that everybody's way too goddamn sensitive.
Exactly. Let it the fuck go. It's not that bad
I think the Disney movie Frozen said it best. Let it go.
Well,
let it go.
Years ago, I went to a Seattle Mariners Red Sox game. After the game, Ken Griffey Jr. was at TGI Fridays in Boston. What did I do with, like, me, my brother, and his friend? We were fucking excited as all hell because at the time, Ken Griffey Jr. was the greatest player in baseball. And
might be the greatest player of our generation.
And you know what? We left him alone. We left the place, and I still have the story. Hey, I was from here to here to the best baseball player on the planet. And great. I did not ruin his dinner, and hopefully nobody else did.
But like to go on about the whole sensitive thing, I think about like when you and I went to the Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling show, and I made that little snide remark, and the owner of the company took it way too much to heart. And
we were paying customers.
We were paid customers, and we were supporters. It's not like we just went there for the first time as people for the, like...
I think that was probably like my sixth show.
It was at least my fourth, I think it was my fifth show that I actually went to. I've been to 3 or 4 different locations. And I've been to the shows, and we supported them, and we talked about them on this podcast. And even the wrestlers in their organization follow us on Instagram, and we're friends of ours on Facebook, and the whole
They
9 yards
appreciated
and
what we
everything
talked
we're
about.
doing. They even asked us if we were going to the show.
Yeah.
And I was even trying to work my way so I can actually get like an interview with one of the guys on the show. And the fucking owner got butthurt because we made a little snide remark that he didn't like, and basically turned the whole mob mentality after us. And Kitty Litter Guy was ready to slit our throats.
Hey, breaking news. I saw Kitty Litter Guy yesterday.
Ooh.
I got a picture of him, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he
I
smell
was
like
working.
shit?
I didn't get too close to him.
I figured you would have smelled him anyway because he stunk like hell.
So I was working an event for my main job, and it was at an air show in Virginia Beach, and I actually saw Kitty Litter Guy come up to our booth, and as much as I wanted to kind of say, hey, remember me, asshole? Because I'm working for the TV station, I can't do that.
Obviously, if it was
I
a
couldn't
different
do that.
circumstance, like if we were just there as paying customers and we're there, that's on him. That's one thing. But yes, you did the right thing. You're in a professional environment because you were associated with your job and everything.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah.
I don't blame you for that. I will say this. I did see the picture of him. I was just trying to kind of like, oh my God, he was there and everything. He looked fatter than he was the last time I saw him.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
And I know that camera's at about 10 pounds to people. Unless you had like 8 cameras that took that one picture. He was fat as fuck.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he's probably one of those people that breathes heavy every time he takes a bite when he's eating.
Right. Yeah, it was it was interesting seeing him in, like, especially after the what the heck you call it, after how he came at us that night. I mean, if I felt that night that we wouldn't have had, like, either the whole crowd or the whole bunch of wrestlers come and jump us, I would have probably stood up to the guy and told him to get the hell out of my face. But because
We had a mob
they
mentality.
literally everybody in that auditorium was against us.
The owner of Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling should be ashamed of himself. And if anything, he owes us an apology for how he handled the whole situation. And I really do hope that now there's only like 11 people that show up to their shows. For the wrestling shows, that they basically pay their guys less money than what they get that they have to pay for the wrestling school. But it's a prestigious wrestling organization whose announcer can't fucking announce correctly to save his fucking life. He's a
Ring
fucking
announcer.
moron. Oh, that's right. That's his son.
That's why he got
fucking, that's
pissed
how
off.
the rich stay richer, because he goes and he gets his son. I'm sure his son doesn't do it for any money, because I wouldn't be paying my son if he was that retarded. The only guy that was actually worth a crap that actually deserved
There
his
were
money,
plenty of
the
guys
guy
that were
of
good.
all the people who deserved their money that they made was the referee, because that goddamn guy worked every fucking match, and he was actually good at what he did. And I would say the
Black
referee
Vega was great. You know what? From when I first started watching Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling until that infamous show, like, it went from, like, literally nobody on the card the first time I saw them should have been wrestling, to when the last time we saw them, I would say half of them were actually
they were half
competent.
That tag team, the team that lost the titles that night we were there to the Black Russians.
Oh
They
yeah,
were
and the
actually-
Black Russians are fine too.
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil was, I mean,
World's Most Dangerous. Those guys were good.
Yeah,
So I like
I love
guys.
those
The
dudes.
Big Cat and Motion Picture and what was the other guy's name? I think he's not there anymore. I forget his name, but
the guy that was champion and lost.
yes,
Right.
when he
And
was
went down to Florida.
That was when he was defending in a triple threat match, eliminated Motion
That
Picture.
was supposed to be
wait, that's right. It's
an
an elimination match.
Literally, that's what the ring announcer did in the middle of the match. Anyway,
We got
ancient history.
But anyway, that was
anyway,
just my whole way of just bringing up the fact that the whole society is was just
Gets
fucking
butthurt
butthurt
too-
over stupid shit. that they
too
shouldn't.
easily. We're sorry that we called Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling trash bag wrestling
What do you
because
mean,
half
we?
of them really suck.
What do you mean we? I don't feel bad about that. I'm not sorry for what I said. I am a paying customer and I am entitled to my own opinion. If you can't handle what I have to say, then you know what? Buck up, Buttercup. Fucking get better. Get a better
Oh
promotion
yeah,
out
be
there.
better, dude.
Be better at what you do. Don't pay your guys fucking $30 a fucking match. You wrestle once a month. When these guys are paying like $25 a week to have fucking wrestling training. At least that's what the Great Hibachi was paying. I think it was like $80 a month the guy was paying, and he only made like $35 a match. And it's like, you spend more money than you make in professional wrestling.
Well, I mean, and that's the way it goes for a lot of them, and it takes a while for them to build up what their
The
name
Rock
is.
said, what was he down to, like his last $7?
$7 or $8.
And then Vince McMahon made the phone call?
It wasn't Vince McMahon. He met with JR.
Jim
JR
Ross,
was the head of talent relations. And
so you're saying there's a chance for the brainless one?
And The Rock ended up, apologizing to Jim Ross, saying, like, look, I'd like to buy you your meal, but like I can't afford it. And Jim Ross was like, no, man. Signed The Rock for, at the time, I think was the largest rookie contract ever, because Jim Ross knew what eventually the world found out, like,
that he was the most electrifying man in all the sports entertainment.
No, he had charisma beyond anybody's freaking wildest
dreams. That's why
dreams.
I said that, because he does have charisma, and he is the most electrifying man in all the sports entertainment. By the way, do you like pie?
Right.
What is your name anyway? It doesn't matter what your name is! Your Rudy Poo candy ass. What? He might have been the most
don't take this as an insult, but you don't have the charisma to carry that.
Oh, you're goddamn right I don't have the charisma. You think I'm... Okay. I am not The Rock, and I know that I'm not The Rock. But I have... Thank you. But I will say this, at least I don't have no charisma. I have a slight vision.
Who? Like Kona Reeves, maybe?
Well, fuck that. I got more charisma than Kona Reeves. To be serious for 2 seconds.
Come on, Kona Reeves is the next calling. He is the next Rock.
Yeah,
crap.
Yeah.
Of garbage.
Kona Reeves is the next Rock, just like I'm the next member of Mensa. Oh, yeah, you like that one. You know that was a good one. Because
that might have been the best joke you've come up with ever since I've met you.
Come on! I've had some zingers.
No, you have a bunch of terrible jokes.
I have some good. You know what? Let's get Jacinta on the phone. We'll find out how good my jokes are. You can talk all the shit you want, but as long as Jacinta,
you will definitely have.
I know that's why I said that.
My mother, right by like, she will wait on bated breath to hear every one of your terrible jokes.
Jacinta is a saint.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna say. Jacinta is a saint, and she would love every single one of my jokes. Like, what's a good one? John Kerry walks into a bar, sits down. Bartender comes over to him and goes, "Why the long face?"
It's true. Fucking John Kerry. Yeah. Anyway,
how many Yankee fans does it take to change a light bulb? None, because they always talk about how great the other 27 were before that.
Great.
It's true. That's a good one. Maybe ruin a good joke.
Yep.
Anyway,
it's called no selling.
Oh, kind of like John Cena? Yes! When the truth hurts.
Yep. Anyway.
Like Tommy Callahan once said in Tommy Boy, John Cena couldn't sell white gloves to a woman eating, or couldn't sell a ketchup pops. Wait, no, it's got to be your bull.
Oh my God.
I fucked that one up.
Yeah, you did. Let's move along. Let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about fucking wrestling.
So, obviously, I don't blame Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns.
And I've heard both of them could be a little bit difficult, but this guy, this fan that was coming up to them obviously was a fucking dick and deserved to be treated like a fucking dick.
So I only have one last question before we close out this topic. Was the guy who went up to them for a picture, was it the kitty litter guy?
No.
Yeah, you guys hide behind your keyboard. You can't touch him and people in your face. And I thought fucking pussy. Sorry.
No, yeah. I would talk shit to your face if you didn't have like another like 300 people helping you.
Well, I mean, they didn't have 300 people between the wrestlers and the fans.
Yes, they did.
No, they don't.
Yes,
There's
they did.
300 people there.
There were.
And most of them came to see that fucking jacked up John Cena guy who couldn't wrestle just like John Cena. The guy who went from being a lifeguard to a military man to what I don't even know what the fuck he was.
Whatever he was. At least he had actually improved where, like,
you're right, he didn't kill somebody the last time we were, like,
the first time I saw him, I thought he was going to kill somebody with a body slam. The last time we saw him, it didn't look like that.
When he fought String, wasn't it? No, it wasn't against String Bean. I think it was against Black Vega. I think he almost killed Black Vega, and that would have been terrible because Black Vega is like one of the best guys they had.
Yeah, then they had the dog dude who acted like he was fucking peeing on people.
And then Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
That was still the best moment of all of Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling. That and the fact that the great Hibachi almost died doing a fucking jump off the top rope and almost killed himself because he was a retard.
Yeah, whatever.
That's why you can't hire N-Glance employees to do anything. I mean, my last job knows about that.
Right.
Anyway, moving along. So next on the agenda, let's talk about some huge news that happened in WWE between a huge signing and some other news that's actually happened in professional wrestling in WWE this week.
That's true. John Cena sucks. Right? So, anyway, let's get into the signing.
WWE came to terms on a brand new 2-year contract with former WWE employee who was last seen at the Royal Rumble.
Employee?
Well,
he's not a WWE employee. All performers are independent contractors. You know that, right?
Yes, but you know what he is not in terms of WWE? A wrestler.
He's a goat.
He is a goat. He is a groat.
He's a groat.
He's a goat.
I am groat.
I
am groat.
He is a goat of luchadors, of masked wrestlers, of WCW superstars that have panned out.
Superstars from the Cruiserweight division.
But the fact is, we can't call him a wrestler, even though he is one of the best wrestlers I've seen. But anyway, the return of
Rey Mysterio is imminent.
Booyaka, booyaka.
Yeah, I'm kind of psyched by this.
Too.
You know, during his last run, towards the end of it, like, he was out of shape, and like, you could tell he was just beaten up a lot. Mm-hmm. And he had, I think it was hormone replacement or whatever, similar to what the fuck's his name? Pitcher. Big fat dude.
Oh, Bartolo Colon.
Bartolo Colon. I think it's the same exact stuff. But they used it to help kind of rejuvenate his knees. And, I mean, he was all jacked up the last time he was in the ring. Looked better than he had in a decade.
Yeah, he was much bigger the last time he was in WWE, and I'm sure he was still kind of upset that they booed him out of the building when he showed up at the Royal Rumble.
Hey, that wasn't his fault. That was Vince McMahon's fucking fault.
But don't worry, he wasn't even the worst number 30 to ever appear at the Royal Rumble. We had the video showing whatever the hell that thing was booing when Roman Reigns came out as 30.
Right.
So I don't know if that was a guy or a girl or what it associates itself with, because for whatever reason in 2018 we have 85,000 different genders, and I don't even associate myself as being a guy anymore. I just associate myself with being brainless.
Giants fan. Yeah.
Brainless. I could justify being brainless. I'm too stupid to associate with just one gender.
Right.
Aha!
So anyway.
But, yeah, and he came out at the Royal Rumble. He looked smaller. Don't get me wrong. He did look smaller.
He was cut as all hell,
He was cut like I couldn't believe.
I can't remember the last time that he looked that in shape.
I'm sorry. I have to see how old he is because it's going to bug me.
Rey Mysterio, I believe, is 39 right now.
I'm going to say
and he looks like he is like in the best shape that he's ever been in. Like, he might have been in better cardio shape back in the day, but he looks amazing right now.
You said 39?
Yeah.
He's going to be 44 in December.
Oh, good for him, man.
I mean, he looks fantastic, and he looked better at that Royal Rumble the past Royal Rumble this year than he has, like you said, in the last like 5 or 6 years. Even
10 years. I'd say 10 years. All right, so Hans thinks that Mankind should be in Taker's corner during the Showdown in Australia. As
Wow,
much
does that play into the next topic that's on the list of the whiteboard of order? You tell me this thing isn't part of the most over thing in the podcast.
It isn't.
It is.
People don't ask for it.
Tommy, if you ever want to solidify yourself and cement yourself as a fan of the podcast,
go, great.
Please
pander to the damn audience.
That's what I do best. That's what I do best.
You're terrible. You're the worst.
You know what? That man right there, for 99 episodes, he's been here for at least 95 of them.
Probably all of them, but
I think the only two people who have a better fucking rating than when it comes to like showing up for this podcast are you and I, and you're the only one that's actually got me beat.
Right. It would be cool. You know what? Of all the faces of Foley, Cactus Jack was my favorite.
Agreed.
I never was a big fan of Dude Love.
Oh, I thought it was unique. I love the uniqueness. But that's
just never.
I
didn't buy any of it.
I
thought it was fun,
shit.
but I just didn't buy it. That was my whole thing.
Well, I kind of look at the Dude Love thing kind of like Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber was funny, and the reason that Dumb and Dumber was funny is because it was stupid as fuck. Nobody could actually believe that those two people are that fucking retarded.
I've met some people.
Hey, you're gonna have to forgive my friend. He's a little slow.
Now,
that's just how it is, and that's how I've always been. I love stupid shit. My taste.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
And totally redeem yourself. I figured the Rocky Mountains would be a little more rockier than this.
yeah, John Denver doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, or whatever he says.
Ted! You went a fifth of the way across the country in the wrong direction! Sorry. I'll be okay.
The consequences could be dire.
But that's just how we have like different tastes and everything.
Right.
Just like I think that Duke the Dumpster Drosy was actually an incredible character, and you hate Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Wrong.
Duke the Dumpster Drosy wasn't a tremendous idea, okay? Because he looked like a fucking garbage man. He looked like a fucking garbage man. Like you're sitting there, it's fucking Friday, you have that Friday off. You're sitting on your porch, you're smoking a cigarette, and the fucking garbage man comes rolling down the street. He comes out and grabs your fucking can. Now tell me, does he look more like Mike Rotundo, or does he look like Duke the Dumpster Drosy?
Just because you look like a part doesn't mean it's a good character.
Hey, that man was in the King of the Ring, he was number 30 in the Royal Rumble, and he was also in the Gimmick Battle Royal WrestleMania 17. You know who wasn't in the Gimmick Battle Royal WrestleMania 17? Gilbert. I rest my case. Duke the Dumpster Drosy was not the worst idea ever.
I never said he was the worst idea ever. There were several more worse ideas.
Yeah? Name one.
The Goon.
Okay, name another one.
Glacier.
Okay, that's two. Give me another one. If you say the Disco Inferno, I'm going to throw...
Dr. Isaac Yankem.
Dr. Isaac Yankem, amazingly, is going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
And he's going to make his city an extra $100,000 by being in the corner of The Undertaker. Playa.
King! Hornswoggle was in the Greatest Royal Rumble. Yeah, he also got eliminated from the Greatest Royal Rumble. Just putting that out there.
Right.
Also, speaking of Kane, some dude yesterday was at the house and he was like, I'm looking for Mr. Rule. And I'm like, yeah, what about him? He's like, well, I just wanted to see if Senator Kane was going to have his support in the next election. And I was like, yeah, you might want to come back later.
And so far, you're a bigger buzzkill than Buzz Killington.
Who here likes a good story about a bridge?
Now, I always thought that the idea of actually getting a Make America Great flag and put that outside the house, it would get the fucking Democrats to stop showing up at our house asking for fucking support. But then I realized if we did that, the house would probably be burnt to the ground and my car would have like no tires or gas.
Never eliminated.
Bullshit. You know who else wasn't eliminated? We'll get into it later on in the podcast. Boom.
Right.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. But yes, that was one of the big news stories that actually came out this week is that Kane will be in the Undertaker's corner at the
Super Showdown
in Australia.
Australia. Good day, mate. Yeah.
I'll have another one.
Do it. So we are going to get the GOAT. Kane will be in Australia, so he is going to probably have to miss a day or two of work, but get his fucking county an extra $100,000. $100,000 to Knox County because Kane decided he's going to go to Australia.
You know what, Vince? I hope you're watching because if you ever need the brainless one to show up in Australia, you don't even have to.
Or
pay
Connecticut.
You don't even have to have me. You don't even have to pay me $100,000. You can pay me like $10,000 and I'll do it. You think $10,000 would be enough?
Well, you got to get your airfare paid for too.
I figured that with $10,000 we could both go on the cruise to Jericho.
Yeah.
So there you go, Vince. You're gonna have the brainless one show up in Australia. Yes, he does have to pay my airfare for the Australian show because I figure that's probably gonna be as much as it would cost for hotel and all that shit. I don't even need to sleep. I'll swim over there. Give me a fucking, give me the fucking Andy
I'll
Fox
give you the Andy Fox Memorial
fucking
raft.
I'll fucking take that to Australia.
Maybe home. You're going to the Super Show in Australia, huh? I should come with you.
No, not enough room on the boat. And if one of us has to die, it's gonna be you, Andy.
Wrong.
Because Wavy and Fox 43 will survive without Andy Fox. The FM Marks podcast will not be able to survive without Brainless One. You can talk about how Jeff Schneider could replace me on a regular basis, but you know that deep down inside, you can replace an individual. You can't replace the individual on the podcast.
Great.
We're both irreplaceable.
Right.
Either way. Alright, you can kill the Kane music. But kudos to Vince McMahon for actually giving the money to Knox County, the $100,000, which is an incredible thing. I think it's great. I've always been a mark for Kane. I always thought that Kane was one of the more underrated stars in WWE, and I'm glad that he's gonna be there, even though he's like 85,000 years old and he can't move anymore. And the fact
He moves better than his brother.
Do you think he moves better than Duke Drosy?
Mm-hmm.
He actually probably moves better than what Aaron Rodgers looked today when he got smoked by the Redskins.
Right.
So
yeah.
that was the big news this week. Is that
So Rey Mysterio is back, and Kane is coming back at least for one thing, and rumor has it that he might be back for a second thing.
And that's also part of the other huge news that actually happened in WWE this week, as it was announced this week that Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, the Showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania himself, Corey O'Neal's favorite wrestler in the entire universe, will be coming out of retirement for one
Wait. I don't think that anything about that is official. It's official that he's in Triple H's corner. It's heavily rumored that this is going to lead to Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker and Kane at the Crown Jewel, which was officially announced this week. And they officially announced a couple other things that resulted from Hell in a Cell.
which we will get into, which will lead to us discussing more about the Crown Jewel as we get into the Hell in a Cell.
Because I don't think it's been officially announced anything as far as Shawn Michaels being in the ring, but it definitely
Spoiler
seems
alert.
like it's pointing towards that.
That's what she said. No, I tried. That was a failed attempt, even I can admit that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that. So why don't we get into Hell in a Cell since we're already on that topic anyway? Because I know as much as... by the way, anybody had the score of the Cowboys-Seahawks game?
To me, honestly, the thing that comes to Hell in a Cell, this was one of the more brutal Hell in the Cell matches I've ever seen, and as much as before this, and even now, like, if you're talking feud-wise, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles deserved to be a Hell in a Cell match. It really did. But I don't hate on the fact that they made Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy a Hell in a Cell match. Those fucking dudes put their bodies on the line in every way. And it was a fantastic Hell in a Cell match.
Randy Orton was so fucked up from that match that he lost, like, there was, like, stuff inside of him that was out.
It was fucking gross, and
See,
I appreciated what those fucking guys did.
Blood doesn't bother me at all. I've been cut up so many different times. I remember getting stitches and sitting there and watching in awe as the fucking doctor was sewing up my finger back together. Blood doesn't bother me.
Randy Orton had shit coming out of his thigh.
He had fucking, like, cartilage or some shit that was coming. That shit fucking bothers me. But
they put their fucking bodies on the line, and they fucking delivered the hell out of this. Sorry, but they did.
No pun intended.
But like
They put put their bodies through hell in a cell.
But like, this was one of the most intense Hell in a Cell matches like in years. It was fucking awesome, and I appreciate greatly what the fuck they did to entertain us and the live audience.
And my God, Jeff Hardy literally ate a fucking table at the end of it. He said he was going to do something crazy, and he was hanging from the top of the fucking cell and was going to land on Orton. Orton moved, and Jeff Hardy went face first into a fucking table. I know that if
my favorite and most heel thing that happened in this whole fucking match
was the fact that they were calling out the EMTs. And
they called the EMTs, and like that was legit that they were calling the EMTs because of the bump that Hardy took. And Orton would like,
fuck this, I'm pinning this.
No, count the fucking fall, because otherwise that would have fucking pissed. What happened in the main event would have pissed me off more. Like, if we would have had two non-finishes, like, the fact that, like, no, count the pin, do your fucking job. He pulled a fucking Bill Belichick on the fucking referee. Do your fucking job.
As much as I love Randy Orton, no matter if he's a face or a heel Randy Orton is 100 times better than face Randy Orton.
No doubt.
And he can still keep the RKO and be the most lethal heel in all of WWE because it's still the greatest finisher in WWE after the Brogue Kick.
Fucking Brogue Kick.
They're 1 and 2.
Are you fucking serious?
They're 1 and 2 in regards to what's better, the fucking attitude adjustment?
That's the worst ending move in like the history of ending.
I think the Colossus is worse. The Death
don't.
Valley Driver, I think, is more devastating than the Colossus. And I was never
Well, the Colossus is terrible.
The Colossus is horrible. They're the two worst, and Cody Rhodes' finisher, Dream Street, was not that much better. I don't like Bray Wyatt's finisher either. Bray Wyatt needs a more devastating finishing move. But then again, I mean, the Power Slam really isn't that much of a devastating move, but when a 380-pound monster picks you up and slams you...
And that's why it is.
That's why I fucking love the fact that it's a finishing move. Because it makes me think of like the olden days when guys like Jake the Snake would finish people with a DDT. And Hulk Hogan would finish people with a leg drop. And, you know, an elbow drop from the top rope was a fucking finishing move for Randy Savage.
Is.
And Roddy Piper would put people in a sleeper hole.
Kairi Sane still uses the elbow drop.
Her fucking elbow drop is fucking nasty too. Because somehow she gets herself up and is like parallel with herself as she's going up. And I'm like, how the fuck does she do it? Her fucking elbow drop is devastating.
Well, it's the insane elbow.
It is an insane elbow. But Randy Orton fucking did something that I was just impressed with. He fucking weirded me out. He freaked me out. He sickened me out. Heel Randy Orton is back, and Mark Henry, WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry, came out and said that this Randy Orton deserves another reign as WWE Champion. Do you agree with Mark Henry?
I do.
Do you think that Randy Orton should be the one that ultimately surpasses the Ric Flair, John Cena mark of World Championship reigns?
No.
Do you think anybody should really have surpassed Ric Flair?
John Cena will.
Oh, fuck John Cena. I'd rather see John Cena become a Grand Slam champion than become a 17-time world champion. And I'd rather see Sheamus do it more than anybody else in the fucking history of mankind. Because it's a shameful thing, lobster head.
Right. Which leads to a couple of things for me. For my good this week, it's Hardy and Orton. The shit they put themselves through. The fucking screwdriver? Are you fucking kidding me? And the screwdriver is my bad for this week. Because, what the fuck? Like, when I saw him take out the screwdriver, I knew exactly what was going to happen. And obviously, Hardy had to give the okay to that shit. Yeah. And the twisting and turning, and I'm like going, oh.
That made a lot of cringe.
I was gonna fucking throw up. I was gonna throw up. That was fucking gross.
Worse than Badman?
Badman, I was gonna throw up because I was choking and dying, and I was like, fucking hilarious.
Throw up worse than when I usually play games.
Yes. I threw up in the sink downstairs and was turning fucking purple.
Well, I was talking about Randy Orton and the screwdriver.
But like fucking that match was just, that's how dynamic and incredible it was to me. Like, they had some of the grossest stuff I've ever seen, but the stuff they put themselves through and the story they told, like, both guys, I think, got over in this match. Jeff Hardy just putting his body on the line to, take out Orton.
We haven't even touched base on what or my bad are. Yeah, we've touched base.
And what
in fact,
the end of this match, I don't know when Jeff Hardy's going to come back, but when he comes back, I think he's going to be a bigger star than he was before that match. And Orton, I mean, that with what he did on SmackDown this week, he's just... heel Orton is so much better than...
Oh, 100% agree.
He's fine as a face, but he's...
I mean, I just like Randy Orton, period, because he's a GOAT. But heel Orton is a bigger GOAT than face Orton. But, yeah, amazingly, my good was going to be part of this pay-per-view. And it had to do with the only title change that we saw at the pay-per-view. But I changed my mind about 24 hours later. And that is where I'm going to go with my good. When we get to that, once we get to that, I will get to that being my good. But they had the pre-show match, which was, like you mentioned, it was the New Day versus Rusev Day, the Battle of the Days, which we've never seen before, where it was a Battle of Days, a New Day versus a Rusev Day. The match itself was really good. The ending was kind of clunky, and I didn't like the way it fucking turned out. Not because of the New Day actually winning. Obviously, they need somebody to kind of eat a pinfall and just keep them as tag team champions because they're setting up for the Super Show in Australia where it's going to be the New Day versus the tag team of the Goats. I mean, the Bar.
Right.
And they're building up towards that. I think that the New Day and the Bar are going to have a tremendous match because it's going to be power and agility versus power and a GOAT. So, and I'm excited for that, obviously, for the reasons that, because I just, Sheamus. And that's why, obviously, they needed to do something. They could have had the Bar be the tag team that fought the New Day at Hell in a Cell. But they just, obviously, it speaks volumes for Rusev. Because in like less than 2 months, Rusev has gotten a WWE title shot, he has gotten a tag team title shot, and on Tuesday, he got a United States title shot. So I would think that it's the signs are pointing towards Rusev is actually going to get booked a little bit better than he has been. It's going to be interesting to see what happens after what happened on Tuesday night.
Well, on Tuesday, I mean, they had the official breakup of him and Aiden English, and honestly, for me, Aiden English always just, like, there's something about his voice that drives me fucking crazy. I mean, he sounds like fucking Ray Romano and Kermit the Frog and Harold Ramis all combined into one. And if you hear the voice,
Oh my god, that's good. I like that. That's spot on right there. That is spot on. Oh my god. It took me a second to process it because I had to put Harold Ramis and Kermit the Frog's voice together. That's exactly what it sounds like.
But
creativity though, he is very creative.
There's something about his voice that just, I have no problem with Ray Romano or Harold Ramis or Kermit the Frog with just their talking voice. It's the whole singing thing, and he's singing as fucking Ray Romano, Kermit the Frog, and Harold Ramis. And when I hear it, I'm like, Rusev Day!
That's exactly what it sounds like. Oh my god, that is fucking spot on. Oh my god, I cannot. That's good. I never would have came up with that. Is it because I'm brainless?
Well, I mean, a little part of this came from Family Guy, where they had the episode where they had Kermit the Frog, Ray Romano, and Harold Ramis all in the same room. But, literally, I'm going, oh, Aiden English has that Ray Romano, Kermit the Frog, Harold Ramis voice. No problem with the talking part. It's the whole singing part. For whatever reason, Rusev Day got over on its own, and then they added Aiden English and thought that it worked well. And
he's saying that he basically, if it wasn't for Aiden English, I don't think Rusev Day would have hit the magnitude that it hit. Obviously, Rusev beating Randy Orton on a sneak attack and rolling him up for a quick pin, going around celebrating, and then
he was elated.
And then, I know. I was actually going to get to that, and Renee Young asked him about it and said, "You seem elated," and he goes, "I don't know what that means." It's still one of the greatest segments in WWE history.
I hope that is part of the highlight in a few weeks of the 1000th episode of SmackDown.
I will say this, it's probably going to get brought up next week again on the 100th episode of the F and Marks podcast.
Right.
Where we really don't even have to talk about anything that happened leading up until next week, because next week is just going to be us commemorating the previous 99 episodes. About how much of a retard the brainless one is in 99 episodes before this. All the horrible predictions that I've made. All of the horrible decisions that I've done. The Edward 40 hands I'm sure is going to get brought up. And all the other stupid stuff that brainless people do. But regardless, and obviously, we'll talk about Tommy, and we'll talk about Don't Eat the Brown Snow, and we'll talk about Jimmy, and everybody who's tuned in and tuned out, and all that stuff, and all the great guests that we've had, and all the different locations we've done, and all the great elated things that we have done. And we could talk about Rusev Day.
Right.
Because next week, the 100th episode also falls on
Rusev Day. I'm not going to sing like Ray Romano.
But, yeah, that was interesting. I didn't see it coming when it happened.
That's what she said.
What's a story, Mark? But, I just feel bad for Aiden English, because now that just means he's got nothing else.
He's going to be the main event showstopper.
Basically, it just means that the next pay-per-view is going to be Rusev versus Aiden English in a fucking bullshit match in the pre-show, and then Rusev's going to beat him, and then Aiden English is going to get relegated to fucking main event, where he's going to be going up against the main event maven in Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo! You know it! And 6 months from now, he'll be...
good and terrible.
He will be future endeavored.
Right.
So that him and Simon Gotch could get reunited on the independent scene and refer to themselves as the very villain.
Right.
Villains. No.
Vaudevillains?
Yeah, but they can't be called the Vaudevillains. Just like Big Cass can't be called Big Cass. He's now Big C.
Big ass. Oh, wait. What? That's already trademarked by you.
You're right. It is well, actually, it wasn't trademarked by me.
It's trademarked
by the 75-year-old hillbilly from West Virginia, from West by God, where the men are men and the sheep are nervous.
Right. Booyah.
Hey. You mind if I clock a rise? Good morning, you people. What's today? Today is Monday. What do? We pace ourselves. I was one of those guys. I had a former coworker at one of my last jobs where we could have just got one of those Chatty Cathy dolls where we just pulled the fucking string and all of his fucking catchphrases would come out. How many you got there, Big C? One. How he used to refer to everybody as Big C, even though people like me don't even have C in their names.
Right.
Yes, because there's a C in Robert, you stupid motherfucker.
Bert.
That's what he came up with Roberto, which is where Corey came up with Bert, and which is why I've been called Bert for like the last 2 fucking years. Christ. Anyway, back to Hell in a Cell. We also got the other tag team championships were on the line as Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose went against the
Ziggler and
Ziggler and McIntyre in a pretty tremendous match. I will say that it was a pretty solid match. I thought that was going to be the case. Drew McIntyre has been lights out since he re-signed with WWE, since he was down in NXT and won the NXT Championship, and even when he's gotten to the main roster where he's kind of been put in this tag team with Dolph Ziggler, it was kind of stupid.
Couple of goats.
And, you know, they made it work. And that freaking, what's the move called again? The kick that he does? I can't even think of it right now. You know,
I can't either, but it
looks
looks devastating.
It's going to be like halfway through the second.
One more for the good guys.
You know, I'm going to think of it like halfway through the Patriots, second quarter of the Patriots game.
Right.
Even though I want to watch the Red Sox instead. But that's okay.
No, you could watch the Red Sox. I'll watch the greatest football team in the last 20 years somewhere else.
You're going to watch the Steelers? They already played today. Oh, wait, no, they play tomorrow.
They're not the greatest team in the last 20 years. They're not even close.
Please.
There's no other team like the Patriots, and then everybody else is like stacked behind them. Lot behind them.
That's very Yankee fanish of you right there, by the way.
Literally, my team was in the Super Bowl last year where you like talk about your fucking team and how they won a championship like 7 years ago.
Hey, my baseball team has a chance to set a franchise.
So does mine.
Tonight. Yeah, well, la-di-da for you.
My team in the last 20 years is the greatest sports franchise. Greatest sports franchise. I'm sorry.
You're right.
It's true.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. The Boston Red Sox are the greatest sports franchise of the last 20 years.
They're not even the greatest sports franchise in their own city. I am a baseball fan more than I am a football fan. And if you're being fucking objective, the greatest sports franchise in the last 20 years is the New England Patriots. I like the Red Sox more than I like the Patriots, but guess what? The better franchise is the fucking Patriots, because they have been to the championship game 40% of the time in the last 20 years, and they won 20% of the world championships in the last 20 years. What other team in the last 20 years has done that? Zero!
I'm going to rebuff that argument by saying this.
Zero!
Did the Patriots actually come back from a 3-0 deficit?
They came back from 28-3 in the third quarter!
What's more?
Nobody has ever done that! Just like with the Red Sox, they came back from 3-0. Nobody has ever done that before.
Admit it.
Admit it. Nobody has ever come back from 28-3
Fine.
in the third fucking quarter.
Fine. I'll give you the last 20 years. I'll give you the Patriots. The last 15,
yes.
Last 15, you have to admit it's the Red Sox.
No. It's very impressive. I'm very impressed with this. I think you're going to fall over.
It'll be the first time. What if they win it this year? Will you give me the Red Sox in the last 15 years?
Possibly.
That would be 4 World Series titles in less than 15 years.
Possibly.
Which is more than any other franchise can actually say in any sport. Especially...
No. Patriots have won 4 in the last 15 years.
No, they didn't.
They won 2004. That's less than 15 years ago. 2005, less than 15 years ago. And then they won 2 out of the last 3.
No, they haven't. They've only won 1 the last 3.
They won.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about the fact that.
Stop. They beat the fucking Falcons and they beat the fucking Seahawks, and they were in the Super Bowl last year. And if our defense was even semi-competent, we would have won last year.
Okay, that's fine. But can we at least say that Roman Reigns is the greatest franchise in the history of sports in the last 20 years? Right, Dixie? It's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is the greatest franchise in the last 20 years.
And I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm not discounting them. I'm just saying, objectively speaking.
Why do you smell like cat poop? You smell like cat poop.
Well, probably tasted good.
Oh, God, that's even worse than the fucking screwdriver in the ear of Jeff Hardy. God.
Is that your brainless?
No, my brainless, we haven't even touched. I mean, we've already touched base on my brainless anyway. We touched on my brainless probably about an hour ago. I lost track of time because I've been drinking a lot.
Right. So anyway.
What the fuck is that goddamn name of that kick? Oh, it's like the name of a weapon. You're going to look it up?
I will look it up.
Guillermo,
you
look it
keep
up.
Going. You keep rolling.
Obviously, McIntyre and Ziggler versus...
The Claymore.
The Claymore. You're right. Absolutely. Good job.
Yep.
Way to think of it instead of me. Because you're not brainless.
The Claymore kick.
That is fucking... That move... It doesn't look that devastating, but my God, is it devastating. I just love kicks. I think that's what it is. That's why I love the bro kick. That's why I love sweet chin music. That's why in my wrestling game that I have...
How about Kinshasa? Do you consider that part of that lineage?
No, but I do like the Kinshasa.
Right.
And it's not because of the fact that it's a badass move. Getting hit in the face with a fucking knee sucks. No matter how you fucking slice it, getting hit in the face with a fucking knee is fucking sucks. But the fact that Corey Graves sells that fucking move better than John Cena has ever sold any fucking move is the reason why the Kinshasa is up there for me in finishing moves.
Right.
But I'm not disappointed with that match. I knew that they were going to put up a hell of a match just because they're four of the best in-ring performers in all of WWE right now.
Yeah.
And speaking of people who are the best performers in WWE right now, we had a mixed tag team match between the team of Miz and Mrs. and Daniel Bryan and Brie Mode, which happens to be the Solid Monster's favorite entrance song in all of WWE ever.
Right.
Or is that the...
Well, he didn't respond to my inquiry about whether it was that or Layla's Insatiable.
Oh, so he's actually responded to Brainless one.
He's responded to me before, but he didn't respond to Insatiable versus Brie Mode. I think they're probably equally terrible to him.
His answer to me was the fucking best.
Aceveda.
Who wins
Season 3.
Who wins in a match between El Gigante and the Great Khali?
Oh.
So it's obviously not the fans. But we didn't get to see too much of Brie Bella or Maurice in the ring. Maurice kind of just played.
Well, that was part of the story here.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Miz and Maurice won the match. Maurice got the pinfall on Brie
with a handful of tights.
With a handful of tights, shocking everybody because I really thought this was going to be where Daniel Bryan was actually going to get the better of the Miz and that's all.
I mean, is this a sign of things to come? Does this mean Daniel Bryan is going to win in Australia, and does this mean we're going to get Samoa Joe to win, or are we going to see Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles again?
I will say this: if it is Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship, Aaron's going to need a shit ton of pants,
right?
Because I know I'm going to need at least 3 or 4 pairs of shorts for that, because that's just ridiculous.
Or jorts. How many jorts?
I don't wear jorts anymore. I'm a grown man.
Come on.
Jorts are not fun.
John Cena still wears them.
Speaking of John Cena, I wanted to bring up this point. Did you notice that Eminem went after a lot of different rappers when he did his diss track in Kamikaze? You know who he did not go after? John Cena.
Or R-Truth.
Or R-Truth, to be perfectly fair. Yes, but I think he knew better than to go after John Cena because John Cena is the single greatest rapper of all time.
Right. I mean, anybody.
Anybody who can say they brushed their mouth like Colgate is like the greatest rapper of all time. Plus, he did a hell of a CD with a guy named Bumpy Knuckles. Bad Man is a fucking good song. I don't want to hear it. That fucking song is badass. I actually like that song. I had that song on my phone for the longest time, and then when I got the iPhone, what am I on, the 8? Once I got the 8, I lost that fucking song. So
Bumpy fucking Knuckles.
Don't fuck with John Cena. He's a bad man. John Cena is the greatest rapper of all time. I don't want to hear
it. Better than Biggie, Tupac, and Eminem.
Yes.
And NWA
combined. Eminem.
John Cena
is the greatest. Eminem is not the greatest rapper of all time. He could have been the greatest rapper of all time, except for the fact that he told me to go fuck myself. Bitch talking about fuck me? Fuck that bitch. Don't tell me to go fuck myself, Eminem. No. You fucking went out there and you fucking shit on some of your fans because some of your fans may or may not have voted for Donald Trump and you got fucking butthurt, just like every other liberal douche out there in this fucking world. So you know what? You lost a fan because of the fact that you took politics into fucking rap. Fucking Biggie never fucking did that shit. Tupac never fucking did that shit. I mean, hell, Nas made a song called Black Republicans. You fucking kidding me? Fuck out of here with that bullshit. And it wasn't even about Republicans.
Right.
Nas is the greatest rapper of all time. End of discussion.
You sure it's not Rappin' Robo?
I'm not that great of a rapper anymore. I used to be a great rapper. I'm actually contemplating doing a rap song to be our like new like.
Wait. Are you gonna do we didn't start the mania?
Actually, I could come up with our own. I was actually thinking about doing that, but I was like,
wait. You mean the song that you were supposed to do like 6 months ago?
Do you want me to sing Bravo number 5?
You should.
I don't want to sing Bravo number 5. It's fucking terrible.
You literally just asked me if you wanted me to have you sing that.
Once upon a time, back in like 2000, Bobby the Brainless was known as Rappin' Robbo, and he was actually supposed to come out with a CD when he was working at the Potato Patch at Lake Compounds, and I know Tommy knows what I'm talking about. The Potato Snatch, as we used to refer to it as. And I was actually in the newsletter when they said that I was actually going to come out. I should go see if I have that newsletter. I'll check after the show and show you that I actually have that in the newsletter. I actually won Employee of the Week that week, or Employee of the Month.
What?
Yeah, I won Employee of the Month, and then they were talking about my potatoes aren't the only thing that are dropping at the Potato Patch. I'm like, that's you know what's funny? You know what's funny? That was the first time I realized that I talk a big fucking game.
Nice, Tommy.
I think everybody who is from either Connecticut or Connecticut. Wow. Everybody who was either from Bristol or Southington or Plainville worked at Lake Compounds for at least one season.
I did not. I did work at Nazos, though. A grocery store on the Plainville Southington line, kind of near Bristol.
Okay. Nazos. I know
near the Dirty Bird.
Well,
although it's not the Dirty Bird anymore.
I did work at the CBS on Route 6 in Bristol where everybody fucking hung out outside of the store.
I thought that was the Subway and the Blockbuster, but
in the bowling alley, Bristol
yes.
Senpin,
yes,
which is now
Main
known
Street
as
Cafe or
Main Street Cafe,
Sports
yeah.
Rock.
Wow. God damn it, Tommy! You got to come down to Virginia Beach Virginia Beach.
Woo! Come down to Virginia Beach too.
Tommy, you should come down to the Hampton Roads area of Virginia and you can come on this podcast. We have no problem having you come on here because you are the guy who is probably the likeliest to be the first ever two-time follower of the year. At least you are in my mind and my heart.
We'll see.
Right. But anyway, to get back to that. So we talked about that. Oh! So we had the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch and Charlotte. I thought this was okay, no, maybe not. It was one of the better stories that was being told.
Better story, like, not better match, I don't think, than Orton versus Hardy.
Once I get a job, I will pay for your airfare. I gotta find a job first. Cat's out of the bag now.
So
anyway, I don't know. If it's not this rivalry that was the better story, I think that maybe
Samoa Joe and AJ.
the fact that they brought Styles' wife and kids into this whole thing, and the fact that Styles and Joe have known each other for like a bajillion years. I mean,
and how they ended that match.
Yeah. And just what has led to Becky being like the baddest bitch on the fucking roster.
Despite the fact that she's quote unquote heel, she is the most over babyface on the SmackDown roster.
The build-up was pretty good. I love the build-up for this. SmackDown's just a better show all around.
The Road Dogg has finally righted the ship after like having a few months of floundering in shit shows.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! But badass Becky Lynch. See what I did there?
That was brilliant.
From a brainless one, it is brilliant.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch has been so good. That's why I said last week that she was my good. And she walked out as SmackDown Live Women's Champion at Hell in a Cell.
And they had that little coronation on SmackDown.
Fucking that pop
fantastic.
she got after she won the title.
Despite the fact that she also did not have sportsmanship and was like, fuck you, Charlotte.
Her winning the title, this Becky Lynch makes me want to lick her fucking pee hole more than any other Becky Lynch has.
Basically, she's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
Without, like, it's
With
not
hair.
the evil boss figure, it's the evil...
Without drinking the beer and...
Right.
The awesome
She's just the ass kicker who, like, fuck the rules. I'm Becky fucking Lynch. Lick my pee hole.
Oh, God, I would.
And...
In the fucking New York Minute, I would. See what I did? Good. Never mind.
They suck.
Fuck you, they won today. We're not
They've
the worst
won
team.
one game.
We're not the worst team. We're not the worst team. We're not the worst team. Obviously, Houston's worse than the Giants. I'm still convinced that the Giants are a much better team than the Jets because at least the Giants didn't lose to the Browns.
There are going to be other teams that lose to the Browns, and there was another team that almost lost to the Browns.
Yeah, but almost doesn't count. That's what elite.
They tied them.
You know what they say about
I think the Steelers are better than the Giants.
I don't. The Giants are not in disarray like the Steelers are. Their best player is holding out, and he got replaced by a guy who's actually better than him. Antonio Brown doesn't even want to be there. And they have a fucking rapist as their starting quartist. I think the Giants have it.
That doesn't mean that you're a bad team.
I would rather have a derp than a rapist.
I would too.
I would rather have a derp than a racist too, but I would rather have a derp than a rapist.
Because the court system has failed us.
I know, because Ray Lewis got away with murder.
That does not make you a bad football player. That makes you a piece of shit human being.
Right, but that bad football player should not have been allowed, or that good football
He
player
shouldn't
should not have
be
been
back
allowed
on
to
the field.
You're right.
Ray Lewis shouldn't have been
that-
back on the field, and neither should the rapist.
Just remember one thing: Ray Lewis killed 2 people and got away with it with no fucking, punishment involved. And Tom Brady served 4 games for allegedly,
Possibly deflating footballs. Ray Rice only had a 2-game suspension.
And then they found the video of him knocking his fiance the fuck out in the elevator.
And literally, his suspension, I don't think, was expanded. Nobody wanted to sign him because...
He got released by Baltimore because he got that tape came out.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and believe
That's what
me,
she said.
you know I don't like the Patriots.
Oh, I know.
You know I hate Tom Brady. You know
He's a goat.
You know I love the Gronk Rock though. And I love Bill Belichick because Bill Belichick is a goat.
And maybe you don't win 2 Super Bowls as a Giant fan without having that goat as a defensive coordinator.
We don't win any of our Super Bowls if it wasn't for Bill Belichick. Let's be serious. But anyway, my reasons that I hate the Patriots is because of Tom Brady and Robert Kraft. That's it. Everybody else in the Patriots I've either liked or respected. That's why when it comes down to it, of all the teams that I don't like, the Patriots are the 4th team I hate the most. Because they will never surpass the Cowboys because their fucking fans are retarded.
What about Eagles?
I fucking hate the Eagles. They're the 2nd worst. And the team I hate, and the surprising team that I hate more than the New England Patriots,
The Yankees?
the Jets. I'm talking about football. I'm talking about football. I hate the Jets. I've hated the Jets longer than I've hated the Patriots. Because I can't respect a team that can't even have their... How do you call yourself a football team if you have to basically inhabit a football stadium that's not even yours? You can't play home games at Giant Stadium and call yourself a real football team. And the fact that your fans are fucking retarded, that the only chant that they know is how to spell your fucking team's name? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you that fucking stupid?
You know who is more over than the Jets?
Baker Mayfield? Who should be the
The
starting
fireman.
Fireman Ed?
Fireman Ed
Fuck that guy.
is more over than the fucking Jets.
The man came out of retirement so he can fucking help the Jets in their
Lose.
home opener of this season, and they lost to Miami, who surprisingly is 3-0. I can't believe the fucking Dolphins are 3-0.
Ryan Tannehill, the GOAT.
Right.
But you know who they should get back? What the fuck's his name from last year?
Oh!
Who got $12 million?
The man who's now going to replace
Diabetes.
Wilford Brimley as the official spokesman for diabetes.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler and his
$12 million,
Hey, you
baby.
know what? Jay Cutler was a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he smoked cigarettes. So I don't see how I have to quit smoking.
Because just
Jay
like
Cutler-
Randy Orton and John Cena.
I will say this: John Cena actually doesn't smoke. Actually,
Not
neither one
any-
smokes
not
cigarettes
anymore.
Randy Orton vapes now, which is
He
fine
said he
because
finished with that.
he that's fine. Randy Orton fucking vapes all he wants. His wife can keep his fucking testicles because he doesn't really have any anyway. Because people who vape don't have testicles. Or a
I
penis.
did not know that.
But that's why I will never vape. Because people who vape are fucking have gluten allergies and fucking they
No testicles.
Well, it's not even just that, but it's like they wear moccasins and they talk about Mother Earth.
What?
And
What's wrong with hippies? What's wrong with hippies?
I have zero issue with hippies. I smoked pot for a
basically
long time.
Hippies are more than just about pot.
They're mostly about pot.
They love the earth.
And I love the earth too because earth gave me marijuana. Even though I haven't enjoyed marijuana in a very long time. But
A very, very,
very
long time. Which makes you have very, very sad days.
I forgot what my whole point with the Patriots was because I've had a little too much to drink today.
Your whole point with the Patriots is they're the greatest franchise in the last 20 years.
I hate the Patriots. I will never admit that.
Even though you know it's true.
I will never admit that.
You
Girl,
know
it's true. Oh,
Just like you know it's true,
I love
the Milli
you.
Vanilli got caught in Bristol, Connecticut cheating.
I will say this: if the Red Sox win it this year, they will surpass the Patriots as the most prolific franchise of the last 15 years.
Not true.
True, because the Giant.
If the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year, no. The Patriots will have won 5 Super Bowls in the last 15 years, and the Red Sox will only have won 4 World Championships.
Yes, but the Red Sox are the only team to ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the AL.
The Patriots are the only team to come back from 28-3 in the fucking third quarter.
28. You said 38.
I said 28.
Well, then
Check your fucking ears, man.
I have
28-3.
against the Falcons.
Yes, they were in the fucking Super Bowl.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna pitch this. What's more impressive, coming back from a 28-3 deficit in the Super Bowl against a team that's never won a
With
Super Bowl,
less than 20 minutes left in the fucking game. Less than 20 minutes left in the game.
Hold on, or coming back from a 3-0 deficit.
I'm a Red Sox fan. I know.
Hold on.
You don't need to try to convince me.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
You can finish, but
Coming
you're going
back
to be
from
wrong.
a 3-0 deficit in the ALCS against the most prolific franchise in the history of sports, with Mark Bellhorn as your starting second baseman. That's why I give
Why
it
do
a
you put
I
so
fucking-
much
I
weight
hate-
with
I hate
Bellhorn?
fucking-
Bellhorn actually hit home runs and actually helped win the series.
He also struck out a lot.
It doesn't matter if you strike out a lot. He made the plays at second base and he hit some home runs. You know what? He wasn't needed to hit for average because guess what? They had David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez and
Bill
they
Miller.
had Bill Miller. They
Don't
didn't
you dare
fucking need
forget
him.
the fucking GOAT.
They
Bill
didn't
Miller.
fucking need him to be an average hitter. They needed him to
be a
make
fucking-
the plays, and they needed Pokey Reese to come in and make the play during Game 7 at the end of that game.
Admit it.
The Patriots are a better franchise.
Mark Bellhorn is a derp.
I don't know if Mark Bellhorn's a derp.
Mark
I know that
Bellhorn
Mark Bellhorn
is a derp.
is one of those guys that he will hit you 210 and he's going to hit you 25 home runs and he's going to strike out 225 times.
And then you make a fucking comment about him striking out in a game against Atlanta, in a meaningless game against Atlanta in May, and you get your whole section to fucking laugh because you tell him that he sucks, and you fucking get the deceiving eyes of your father, and you wonder why he won't go to fucking sporting events with you ever again.
Mark Bellhorn was a piece to the puzzle.
He was a fucking retard.
He was a piece.
He was
to the
more
puzzle.
of a retard than I am.
You know, I'll just throw this out there. Better player, Doug Minkiewicz or Nomar Garciaparra?
Nomar was a goat.
If they kept Nomar, they would not have won that World Series.
If they had traded,
They would not have won that World Series. It's all about the pieces you have, and Mark Bellhorn was a piece.
Fair enough. But if they had made that trade of Manny Ramirez for Alex Rodriguez, they would not have won that World Series.
Well, it wasn't Manny Ramirez for Alex Rodriguez. It was Alex Rodriguez for Nomar.
No, it was Manny Ramirez for Nomar, or Manny Ramirez for Alex Rodriguez, and they were going to flip Nomar to the Chicago White Sox for Maglio Ordonez.
He was a GOAT too.
Maglio Ordonez, they would not have won the World Series with Mags and fucking A-Rod. Because A-Rod said, snap the ball out of your hand there, fucking Bronson Arroyo. That's what A-Rod does. He's a piece of shit. Fucking piece of shit. Fuck you, A-Rod. I will never like that man. Sorry. Let's go back. Okay.
Becky wins.
Becky wins.
Becky has her coronation this week on SmackDown.
Did she take her top off?
No.
I really wish she did.
But she tried to get Charlotte to raise her hand. She tried to get Charlotte to strap the title around her waist. She was doing everything she could to piss off Charlotte. It was a good little segment. And you know what? The crowd still fucking loves Becky. And they don't have a great appreciation for the female Roman Reigns.
They don't have an appreciation for the male Roman Reigns either. And the only Roman Reigns-esque part about the main roster that they actually have an affinity towards is the tag team champions of Roman Reigns, and that's the New Day. Dixie, of all the places you could have laid, you laid right in the fucking doorway so that fucking could get in there.
I don't consider the New Day the Roman Reigns of the tag division.
disagree.
They've lost plenty of times. And literally the only reason why they have the titles right now is because Eric Rowan fucked up his arm. They would not have won the title.
But think about the positives of all this. If the New Day was not the de facto winners of the tag team titles because of Eric Rowan, they would not have become the 5-time tag team champions, which means we would not have gotten King Booker to come out that night on SmackDown.
That was my good a couple weeks ago. I fucking love that.
And not only that, but it's actually going to be a nominee for Markout Moment of the Year for the Brainless one because everybody knows
King Booker's a goat.
Fucking love Booker T. And that was fantastic.
Right.
Tell me you didn't just Saxton me. Oh, that was fantastic. I love that shit.
Anyway.
Booker T's fucking fantastic.
He's a GOAT.
But yes, Becky Lynch had her coronation, like you said, and it really makes me like Becky Lynch more. I've always been a fan of Becky Lynch, even though her punches are on the fucking level of John Cena's
and
punches.
her running the ropes are
Please
pretty
don't,
terrible.
Please don't.
Everything else in her game is great. It's just like, I love John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, whatever the fuck his name is, John Hennigan on Survivor. His punches suck dick, but his matches are almost always incredible.
John Cena might have some shitty punches and everything, and has a shitty moveset. I do respect
even the sixth move.
I respect the fucking shit out of John Cena because of loyalty and the fact that
Hustle.
he's the greatest rapper
In
of all
respect.
time. But anyway, I love this Becky Lynch. This Becky Lynch has been fantastic. They're booking her perfectly.
To me, they're booking her as a heel, and it doesn't fucking matter because the crowd loves
Because
her,
the smarts
and she
love
got
her.
fucked. She got fucked over. She did by her best friend, who was, and you know they say the key to a good heel is taking an element of truth and turning it into absolute truth for them. To me, it's absolute truth that Charlotte was stealing the spotlight from Becky.
100% agree.
So
I was happy for Becky Lynch, and I know that leading up to it, that they were actually beating the women's champion to get their opportunity.
Fucking
Becky
bullshit.
Lynch, which I know that pisses you off almost as much as anything else in all of professional wrestling, even though it did lead to a funny segment where R-Truth was saying that, I know how I'm going to get my shot at the WWE title. I'm going to fight Carmella, and I'm going to beat her. That's fucking funny as shit.
Goat.
You gotta admit that's fucking good shit, though.
He's the GOAT.
But they're doing everything right. I love what they did with Becky, and they finally listened to the fans. It shouldn't have taken this long for Becky Lynch to get another opportunity to be the women's champion. She was the face of the women's division on SmackDown since they did the roster breakup. She was the first SmackDown Women's Champion. It should not have taken this long for her to get that opportunity to be the Women's Champion of SmackDown. She deserved it. It shouldn't be fucking Charlotte Flair getting shoved down everybody's throat. I'm not saying anything bad about Charlotte.
She is a great performer.
She is a fantastic performer.
In every way. Every way. On the mic, in the ring.
Specifically in the ring. And not only is Charlotte the best in-ring performer in the entire women's division, Charlotte is one of the top 5 performers in all of WWE, whether she's a male or female. The woman.
So you're saying she's not a bathroom break?
She's not a bathroom break. You're right. And neither is Becky Lynch. Even though I probably
that would be a different kind of bathroom break.
Bathroom break for me. I mean, if Becky Lynch and if they did, like for whatever reason, if Alexa Bliss can find a way to actually beat Ronda Rousey, and it's like Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch at Survivor Series, you bet your goddamn ass I'll be in the
And a brainless one on a pole match. Right?
Yeah!
Just don't make it too loud. I don't want to know what's going on.
But I love Becky Lynch. I really do. And I'm glad that she's finally getting her opportunity to, once again, be at the top of the women's division of SmackDown Live.
Right. And both of us got that pick right.
God damn, Dixie, you stink.
Right?
You really do stink.
Anyway, moving right along, in this card, we ended up having AJ Styles against Samoa Joe, and we ended up having a fucked finish here. And AJ ended up leaving with the title, which I guess technically made me correct in this pick. But
technically, I was right.
We were both right.
We were both right because AJ Styles did walk out with the title because he technically won.
And he won the match, but
AJ Styles
he tapped out
with Samoa Joe.
Which is leading up to the Super Showdown in Australia, where they're having like a no-holds-barred match.
No disqualification, no count-out. It's just going to be whoever gets a win by a pinfall or a submission becomes the WWE champion. And I'm just going to say one thing. This rivalry's got to make fucking... It's great. It's great. It's absolutely
great. Might be the rivalry of the year. Might be.
You don't mean that. Everybody knows that the rivalry of the year is Jeff Snyder's pick for rivalry of the year of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Cleveland. And if it's not them, it's fucking Daniel Bryan and The Miz.
Right.
And any other year, Daniel Bryan and The Miz would be the rival of the year, but Ciampa and Gargano is the rival of the year, and it's not even close. But Samoa Joe has been great in this rivalry, and this is just... It's got to make Dixie Carter, like, roll in her grave. Even though
she sold TNA, and she, I think, made some money. So...
I'm glad that...
And when... I hope when they're at the Super Showdown that there's the TNA chant just like during SummerSlam.
Agreed. And it's fantastic. I'm so happy that they're giving...
This just goes to prove that TNA was an extremely incredible product in the late 2000s to early 2010s, and just because it didn't have the WWE name, people were shitting on it. They had a lot of great matches. I mean, honestly, go back and watch Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles in TNA. Go watch Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle. Go watch Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. The matches were incredible. They did not have the same exposure as WWE, and
they didn't have to save money either.
But like,
speaking of TNA though, it was announced this week that the Monster Abyss will be entering the TNA Hall of Fame. Well deserved. I wasn't a huge TNA fan growing up. I only actually got one TNA pay-per-view, and after wasting
illegally downloaded stuff.
after wasting $30 on one pay-per-view, I said I wasn't going to do it. When a dude won the fucking Knockout Division's title, I was done.
Was that Eric Young?
No. It was Kobe Diener.
Okay.
I was going to say Kobe Fleener, but he plays tight end.
For the Colts?
No, he doesn't play for the Colts anymore. I think he plays for the Saints, but I don't even think he even plays for them anymore.
I thought Jimmy Grant. No.
Jimmy Grant plays for the Packers now.
Right.
That was it. And I only got it because I wanted to see the X Division.
Ultimate
title.
X.
And it
Did
was
they have
inside
an
that
Ultimate
fucking
X match?
dome thing, and
Sure.
D'Angelo De Niro, a.k.a.
Oh, the GOAT, the Pope.
The Pope, known as
Elijah
Elijah Burke,
Yeah.
fucking Suicide, Daniels, Kazarian, Amazing Red, all those guys were in that match. That's the reason why I got it. That and the fact I believe that the main event was Joe versus Angle versus Styles. Or it was Matt Morgan in that main event, but it was. I got one.
TNA much like.
But anyway,
they deserve more respect than they got back in the day.
Kudos to the Monster Abyss actually getting in there, because he is TNA's version of Kane, and he was damn good. I liked Abyss.
So another thing going along with this is this week we found out that people who are higher ups, executives in Impact, were in Stamford, Connecticut, talking with WWE. What they were talking about, we don't know. We don't know if it was like a tape library thing. We don't know if it was like WWE would like to buy you. We don't know at this point. Personally, I think it's more of like, hey, we'd like to get some of your library and put it on the network.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was.
And personally, I would. It would probably be the stuff that was technically still TNA before
it was Impact Wrestling.
Before it became officially Impact Wrestling, and before Billy Corrigan got involved, before Anthem Entertainment got involved.
Because if you think about it, a lot of people who are now in WWE were part of TNA, whereas on the active roster they have Eric Young, and they have Bobby Roode, and they have
AJ Styles and Samoa Joe.
And Kurt Angle is the general manager of Monday Night Raw.
I mean, literally, you have how many years was he?
Just inducted Jeff Jarrett into the Hall of Fame.
Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy,
fucking Mick Foley.
So many of the guys have at some point been there. Even Booker T was there for a couple of years. So there are a lot of things that could fill in the archives of WWE. You know, instead of saying, Sting took 14 years off.
Mickey James has been rusty for the last 7 years.
One of my favorite matches ever, and I was actually at the Impact Zone, was her against Tara, a.k.a. Victoria, in like a no-holds-barred match. It was fucking awesome.
I would love
And then they had like a cage match. If you're talking about the women's evolution and revolution, it started not in the Knockouts division in TNA, because for a long time the tag team division and the women's division in TNA was far better than anything WWE put out, and that was the stamp that TNA had. And again, they don't have the exposure that WWE has, but they were fucking killing it. And if you're talking women's revolution, those fucking matches that they had like a last woman standing match. They had cage matches. All of that stuff before WWE started doing that in the last 2 years.
Yep.
They had all those matches, and they were fucking awesome. And it's just... I think that helped push WWE to say, like, oh, by the way, like, Ronda Rousey getting really over, obviously, in UFC, where her matches were headlining pay-per-views, where more than 1 million people would buy the damn pay-per-view.
Just to watch
I
Ronda
think
Rousey.
between that and between the Knockouts division, like, putting to shame the WWE Women's division back in the mid-2000s,
Yep.
I think...
Because the Divas division back at that time was just about how hot the woman was, not about...
You had
how
a couple
the
of workers, and then you had... It was more about being a model than it was being a wrestler.
Like Kelly.
Yes. And Kelly eventually became...
Halfway decent in the ring.
Yes.
But
Competent.
Michelle McCool could wrestle.
But for a while, she wasn't
You're right.
that good.
True.
Layla was not good for a while.
Victoria could wrestle,
Yeah.
obviously. Beth Phoenix could absolutely wrestle. Natty Neidhart has proven
Your girl
for a
Candice
long
Michelle
time.
was not the greatest, though.
I'd still...
You'll lick her pee hole,
yes, correct.
and then that's
I wasn't gonna go
fine.
there, but yes. But yeah, you're absolutely right, because the Knockouts division was so much better because Velvet Sky could wrestle, and Madison Rayne could wrestle, and
Gail Kim could
Gail
wrestle.
Kim, and,
Awesome Kong could wrestle. Yeah.
and even like when Gail Kim came back to WWE, because it's like, I gotta go back because that's where all the money is, and they didn't
They
book
shit
her
on her.
properly. And it was like, I had to leave because they're not booking me properly. And Awesome Kong left because she faked being pregnant or whatever the hell it was. And she was actually... And I was actually excited for Awesome Kong when she came in as Karma, because I thought that it was going to be great for the women's division. And
Because she was something different. She
Yes.
wasn't a Barbie.
She wasn't a Barbie. She was kind of like when they had Bertha Faye.
Right.
Or Bull Nakano. Back in, God only knows, like back when I was a child.
Right.
You know, back when wrestling wasn't terrible because Alundra Blaze could wrestle, but they didn't have the depth of the division like they kind of have now, because you have a Sasha Banks and you have a Becky Lynch and you have a Charlotte Flair and a Bayley and you have
Naomi.
who can
Natty
actually wrestle,
Neidhart.
Natty Neidhart, and you got the Iconics,
Alicia
and you got Alicia
Fox.
Fox and the fucking Riot Squad and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and you have all these women that can actually wrestle, except for the Bella Twins. And it's great that the women's division has actually evolved the way it did. Obviously, that's why they called it Evolution when it's going to happen next month. Even though we're going to... Never mind. I'm not even going to get...
Whatever.
I'm not going to shit on it.
Don't even say it.
Not going to shit on it. So, and I think that Becky Lynch is a step in the right direction for them to get to where they need to be for the women's division. Ronda Rousey being as incredible as she has in such a short period of time and establishing herself as one of the top women in the women's division has been fantastic. You know what you're going to get from Charlotte Flair. Naomi, you know what you're going to get from her. Natty Neidhart, the gritty veteran. Mickey James, the gritty veteran. And the young girls and the Ruby Riots and the Sarah Logans and the Alexa Blisses.
Candice
And
LeRae.
the Candice LeRae's and
Kyrie
Sane
and
and
Asuka, the GOAT.
and Nikki Cross and Bianca Belair. You have the women's
The
division.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
The women's division is going to be tremendous. And you got people like Tony Storm, who you just got from Europe, who's going to be fighting in the Mae Young Classic, spoiler alert,
Is fighting in the Mae Young Classic
finals against, I don't even know who it is, and I feel terrible for it, but that's my boy Big C's fucking girl. It's Tony Storm, Big C.
Right.
And I might be a little bit more invested if they actually were a little bit more invested into the pay-per-view.
Well, they're more invested in selling 80,000 seat stadiums in other places, as opposed to selling the 15,000 seat arena.
In Nassau Coliseum.
And I don't think they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be like an embarrassing number of people that buy tickets. It's gonna be like.
It'll be close.
It's gonna be sold pretty well.
There'll be more people at Evolution than there were for any Whalers home game ever. Oh!
I don't know if Kurt Hawkins is going to get a win soon. He actually has been fighting to keep losing.
I saw that. I fucking died when I saw that.
Fucking love that
They want him to
Hawkins
win.
embraces the fact that he's a fucking loser.
That's right.
He's
Pat
gonna
yourself on the back
become
where- talk about
the
losing
new
to the Patriots.
Barry Horowitz. What are you doing?
Just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Like
Speaking of,
a Dallas Cowboys loss.
yes, we did get. Interesting. Speaking of the women's division, Ronda Rousey did fight Alexa Bliss for the women's championship of Raw, and then to no fucking surprise to anybody, Ronda Rousey
It was a really good
victorious.
match, though. They told a good
See,
story.
the only thing I had a problem with is how fast Alexa Bliss tapped out after she had to move, and like it was like
There are certain times where something like that, where like the end of the match will fuck up the match. The Mustache Mountain end of the match versus Undisputed Era, fucking terrible.
You do
It
understand,
ruined the fucking match.
You do understand that I want to buy a new system and buy WWE 2K19 so I can beat the holy shit out of fucking Tyler Bate on a nightly basis because of that match. I can't stand Tyler Bate because of that fucking ending, that fucking shit ending. But Alexa Bliss is really good in the ring. Alexa Bliss is an even better character on the microphone.
Right.
And the fact that the fucking Alexa downstairs just heard me say Alexa.
Keep
all
going.
night here, it was incredible.
Keep going.
But I just that bothers me the way that the fucking match ended as quickly as it did, and for me, that's my bad. My bad is Ronda barely had the finisher locked in on Alexa Bliss, and won the match as quickly as she did. It's like she didn't even have the full armbar locked in, and Alexa Bliss. And she
So what you're saying is your bad is your girl Alexa Bliss. She fucked up.
Alexa Bliss is no longer my girl. My girl is Charlie Caruso.
Not Zelina Vega.
Zelina Vega's up there too. Although I don't have black mass like Aleister Black.
Right.
But I just
That returned to TV this week.
he did
Or
TV
return
with
to-
my girl Nikki Cross.
Right.
But that ending really just pissed me off because she tapped out rather quickly. If you're supposed to be a legitimate contender in any division, doesn't matter if you're men's, women's, tag teams, cruiserweight, whatever you are, you tap out that quickly, it doesn't look good on you. And that you should go all the way to the back of the line. You should be standing behind Bayley, who's fucking handing out hugs to everybody in the back of the line.
That would have been interesting if they did add that and they had that part of the storyline
I'm
at
sorry,
the beginning.
that's just that really just bothered me, the ending of that match, and that's why it was my bad.
Yeah, that was a mistake on Alexa's part. She should have waited another couple of seconds.
Yeah, make it seem like she has the move locked in before you're like, oh my god, she has it locked in. Sorry.
But that was not my stupid ending of the week and not my brainless. My brainless
That was my
was
bad,
the
not my
ending.
brainless.
My brainless
Ooh,
for
you
this
skipped the
week.
bad.
I already told you my bad.
What was your bad?
I told you it was the fucking screwdriver.
Oh, okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. You gotta remember, I had one of these, and I had one of these, and I chugged this, and then
the
Go ahead. Sorry.
the end of the main event of Hell in a Cell.
You're right.
I love the surprise of Brock Lesnar. I like the fact that I did not go online and go, ooh, somebody is backstage. I didn't click on the link. I'm like, I don't want to fucking know. Let me be surprised. When Brock Lesnar came out, I was surprised as all fuck. Great. Thank you.
Agreed. Because
Looked
I did not
fucking
love-
badass when he kicked down the cage. Fucking great. All of that's great. The fact that he beat the fuck out of the two guys in the ring, fucking great. How do you call a no fucking contest in a Hell in a Cell match? A Hell in a Cell match is to be there to determine a fucking winner. I don't care how bad you're beaten up. if they wanted to set up a quote-unquote triple threat for the crown jewel thing in Saudi Arabia, guess what? Have the monster among men win the match, so that way Roman Reigns invokes his rematch clause, but you know, you got the monster among men so fucking pissed off that Brock Lesnar came and beat the fuck out of him, you still set up the triple threat match. Have fucking Roman Reigns lose the title. I know that, like, I appreciate the fact that WWE lately has been, at least for the most part, more about the long-term booking. The fact that, like, they spent so long building up Roman Reigns and building up Roman Reigns to finally have his moment against Brock Lesnar, great.
And the fact that they extended the Nakamura thing when he was feuding with Styles.
They had
an okay match at WrestleMania, and then Nakamura hit him in the testicles and kind of extended that rivalry a few more months, which was great because I love the more they wrestled, the better the matches got.
They did. But, like, in general, like, I think the long-term booking has been better, but, like, Hell in a Cell was made to have a clear-cut winner and loser. I mean, they ended up having the spot in the match where, like, the Hell in a Cell was supposed to prevent people from getting in. They tried to showcase that a little bit extra to have Rollins and Ziggler, you know, fall off the cage. All right, nobody can get in. But then Brock Lesnar comes and kicks the damn door in. Great. All that's great. Again, storyline-wise, great. But
I want to get into that statement that you made about the old-timers coming back for the Saudi Arabia show.
But in general with this,
I wanted to
the match is supposed to come to a conclusion. It's supposed to be no disqualification, and it's not supposed to end in a fucking no contest. That was my biggest problem with the ending of this match.
Can I add 2 points to your...
You sit there and literally, if you're both knocked out, wait until somebody fucking wakes up.
Can I add to your statement about how that ending was fucking stupid?
Yes.
Can I add 2 points to your argument?
Keep going with
Mick Foley almost died twice in his match against The Undertaker.
And it wasn't stopped.
Favorite. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker fought at Bad Blood inside a Hell in a Cell and Kane made his debut at that match. He debuted. And guess what? There was a clear-cut finish to that match. Hell, Shawn Michaels super kicked fucking The Undertaker against Triple H at WrestleMania inside of Hell in a Cell, and guess what?
Yeah.
There was still a clear-cut favorite. So I 100% agree with you. But that's not my brainless. It should be, but it's not my brainless. But I haven't even announced my good or my brainless for this week. Because we haven't even touched base on what my good or my brainless is.
And I've already hit on all three.
You did? I hit my bad, though.
Right.
I think that's everything for fucking Hell in a Cell.
It is.
So I want to get into my fucking good for this week. I wanted it to be Becky Lynch and the fucking reaction she got after winning the women's title. And actually, after the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, she was the favorite going into the clubhouse to be my good for this week. And I really wanted to give her my good for this week. I also wanted to give my good for this week to the match between Ricochet and Pete Dunne for the WWE UK Championship. And my God, if you have not seen that match, please watch that match.
Couple of goats.
If you want to see two goats fucking battling it out as Rams, fucking watch that match. Do you know what my fucking good for this week was? Let me give
what was it? Was it the goat? It was the goat, wasn't it?
Let me give it a little. Let's see if I can do this right. Did I do it right? I did it wrong, didn't I?
Well, I mean, there's an actual chord he hits. Wait. All right, put your finger here,
Here.
and here. Take your other fingers off and upstroke. All right, give it to me.
Do it. Please do it for me, please. Thank you. I'm not good at the guitar. Hello, I am Elias, and I am the brainlessest pick for what was the good this week. And I just want to ask you all one question. Who wants to walk with the brainless one? Yes, Elias was my good for this week.
He's always the good.
He's fantastic, and I feel bad that he wasn't at Hell in a Cell. And it would have made Hell in a Cell 100 times better if he was there. But the fact is that A, he shit all over the Dallas Cowboy fans because they were in Dallas and said, why do you all... shit. Why do you all freaking support failure? And he basically just shit all over Dallas fans. And then Leo Rush came out to interrupt him and he goes, wait a minute. Whose kid is this? It was fantastic.
He's a GOAT.
So for me, as much as I could go wrestling related for this, I'm going to go with the fact that this is a brainless pick because that's what I do. I go and come up with stupid shit that's actually kind of funny. So Elias does get my good for this week because, well, he's Elias and he's a GOAT. My brainless for this week, and I said it to you while we were watching SmackDown. My brainless happened between the match of AJ Styles and Andrade Cien Almas. They, once again, put on a pretty good show, but there was one part of it that really just pissed me off, and Freebird. Can you play Freebird?
I could play Freebird, but I was playing Brain Damage from Pink Floyd because you were playing the Brainless.
Oh, I'm always the brainless. I'm not playing the brainless. You know, I could go and throw a fucking wife beater on and grab some Budweiser and just scream Freebird. Like Jeff Fisher screaming at a fucking cover band in a bar. My brainless was that match, and it wasn't because of the match itself was brainless, but there was a part of it that really just stupid WWE booking. AJ Styles was outside of the ring and was getting counted out by the referee. And AJ Styles actually got onto the apron, was not back into the ring. And what happened? Andrade Cien Almas knocked him off the apron and back onto the floor. AJ Styles was not back into the ring. AJ Styles did not interrupt the count. And AJ Styles went back out to the ring. So you know what that makes it? 2 counts away from a count out. And what happened? Oh, we're going to go to commercial break. And we're just going to randomly decide that we're going to fucking restart the count because that's what we do in WWE. And that fucking shit pisses me off. When they do fucking stupid shit like that. So from now on, when I'm going to do fucking brainless, I'm going to come up with fucking stupid shit like that. Like fucking with Kevin Dunn and his fucking having a seizure when fucking Sanity comes out. That's brainless. When a referee forgets to start counting when the wrestler's been outside of the ring for like 20 minutes, that's going to be brainless. When there's a fuck finish like the end of the AJ Styles Samoa Joe match and the fucking Braun Strowman Roman Reigns match, that's going to be brainless. When there's stupid shit like that, that is what the brainless one is going to count as brainless for the week. So for me, of all the things this week, that one fucking pissed me off. It pissed me off to the point where you get pissed off when a fucking singles champion loses in a non-title match clean. When they have these fucking brawls. For me, like when they have the fucking brawls and they have the fucking whole locker room come out to try to separate 2 guys and you basically bury the entire roster because you're trying to separate 2 guys. Stuff like that. That's why that is my brainless for this week. Because shame on you, WWE. I feel good about myself now. Okay. So did I go brainless this week? I mean, that's like...
Well, that's
like
every
asking,
week.
That's
every
like,
week.
Hold on, that's like asking
That's a
if,
given.
it's like asking if the sky is blue and the grass is green. Yes, I get it. And if the Jets are the worst team in the NFL. Did we talk about how Rey Mysterio signed back with the WWE in a 2-year contract?
We did.
Did we talk about how Shawn Michaels could potentially be coming out of retirement for one more
For
match?
the crown jewel.
Did
Well,
we talk-
it does not say one more match.
Could potentially
I
be
still think Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania is going to be a match.
I think we're going to get Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles too. Which I would, even at Shawn Michaels at 95 years old, I'd still watch that. Did we talk about the Hell in a Cell results?
We did.
Did we both do our good and bad and brainless?
We did.
Did we basically shit on Anti-Bros Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, because we saw Captain Kitty Litter. Well, I saw Captain Kitty Litter again.
You fucking triggered me with that. Did we finish our 40s?
We did.
Did we pay homage to the GOAT, Elias?
We did.
I feel like we've touched base on everything.
Almost everything.
Are you sure?
I think we missed one thing. And I know Tommy is very excited about
That's
this
why
portion
Tommy
of
came
the show.
back. Is it because today, on September 23rd, I can't believe I had to look up the date, September 23rd of 2018, at an astonishing 1,337 days, former multiple-time tag team...
I'm failing, man. Keep
failing
going,
right now?
keep
Are you
going,
practicing
keep
yourself
going,
right now?
keep going.
Are we talking about the son of a Hall of Famer, a third-generation superstar? His father's in the Hall of Fame. His grandfather's in the Hall of Fame. A former tag team champion. A former intercontinental champion. A former Heyman guy.
Yeah.
A guy who I love paying homage to every single week. For 1,337 days and for 99 episodes, Curtis Axel is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Oh, it's
B-Team! B-Team! Go, go, go! B-Team! B-Team! Go, go, go! I love Curtis Axel.
He's a GOAT.
Not as much as I love Eli Manning,
Right.
but I still
Derp.
love Curtis
Derp.
Axel. So anyway, for episode 99 of the F and Marks podcast, I can't believe it actually took us to this point and me being absolutely shit-faced. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Periscope. Follow us on Instagram. And like our page on Facebook.
YouTube.
Thank you.
YouTube.
At the THE, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, the F and Marks. And if you follow us,
Right.
you will be, Tommy. If you follow us, we will follow you back. So for episode 99 of the F and Marks podcast, because we got to get this individual to watch his two favorite franchises in all the sports, the Patriots and the Boston Red Sox. I am your co-host, Bobby the Brainless.
I'm Ja Rule.
Make sure you mark out.
With your guac out. See you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see
Catch
you
you all next week
for
for episode
100!
100! Woo! Little! Woo! Oh shit, I did it wrong again. Woo!